Ayan, so good afternoon everyone and welcome to episode 4 of our social entrepreneurship series here at the Dagoy Academy in collaboration with Y Goal and Voice Philippines. So again, welcome guys to DJY Academy where we invite different people with different ideas that will help you get empowered, equipped, and engaged. Because here at the Academy, we promote a growth mindset revolution to awaken your full potential and help you achieve your goals in life. So yeah, thank you very much guys for joining us, and we are very excited because this month we have been featuring various social enterprises that have creatively weaved profit and social impact in order to contribute and align to the sustainable developmental goals of the United Nations, and as well as helping the society and the community around them. So this is our new series this month, and this is our episode 4. But not only that, to cap this series that we are doing together with Y Goal, we will further what we have started, launching our DJY Academy's Corporate Social Responsibility Program, focusing on empowering families of our garbage collectors in Manila. So yeah, so there you go. We've been showing this to everybody for the past month. Help us help our garbage collector drive, and we are trying to help them and help them, and also try to give them goods, because they have been a key instrument in making our society clean during the pandemic, especially. And even during the storm, they have been tirelessly working to to help unclog the areas in Manila as well. And not only are we going to give them goods, right, to ensure a more holistic empowerment approach, we will curate personal development and skill-based workshop for the program recipients. So yeah, there you go. So your donations will not only go to the food that we will be giving them, but will also go to the workshops that we will be conducting, that we will be creating for the families of our garbage collectors. So donate your 500 pesos, and it will go to a rice, a mixed veggie, a sardines, instant noodles, and face masks, and also PPEs even. But the most important part is the workshop after us giving the donations to these garbage collectors that we will be helping. All right, so there you go, guys. And we have a really, really, really interesting guest this afternoon. But before that, we just want to say thank you to our sponsor of this workshop, Global International Japan Corporation. Thank you very much for sponsoring the whole series of DJY Academy and Y Goal Incorporated. So Global International Japan Corporation, known to many as GIJC, is a direct supplier, importer, exporter since 2003. Alright, so if you want to know more about them, please visit www.gijccorp.com for more details. So there you go, guys. So thank you very much for tuning in again. And we are very excited to actually introduce our guest speaker. This afternoon, we have him the past month, I believe so. But we talked about more on personal finance, on finance. But this afternoon, we'll be talking on his company and social entrepreneurship. So there you go. I'm very, very excited to introduce him. So our guest speaker this afternoon is Sir Vince Rapisura. Sir Vince, or Mariel Vincent Andres Rapisura. He was born, I think it's November 8, 1987, in the far flank of Quirino, and has been a very instrumental in his own company. He has been teaching microfinance and social entrepreneurship at the Ateneo de Manila University for the past 15 years. He established SEDPI, a social enterprise that provides financial literacy trainings to low-income OFWs in 15 countries worldwide. And since 2004, SEDPI has trained more than 30,000 individuals and has managed social investments close to 325 million. SEDPI's experience has been shared in various international conferences held in India, Indonesia, Israel, Italy, Myanmar, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Thailand, Spain, Sri Lanka, and Vietnam. Right, guys? So without further ado, and for us to know more about SEDPI and social entrepreneurship, let's give a hand to Sir Vince. Magandang hapon, Sir Vince.
Hi, magandang hapon sa iyo ulit, Pao, at salamat sa inyong pag-imbitasyon.
Yes, I'm very excited to actually talk with you again. After that conversation that we had on finances, I had a lot of, I kept on listening to your shows and watching to your YouTube videos on finances. And that's greatly helped me a lot, Sir Vince, if I may be honest.
Thank you.
Thank you, especially your savings and the 3 categories that you've taught me. Ang saya ng nangyari since then. So, but this afternoon, Sir Vince, since you are a social entrepreneur and our series is more on social entrepreneurship and social enterprises, and in our episode 1, we had Sir JR discuss on the different models and also taught us on social entrepreneurship, and that will be our topic this afternoon. And I am very excited to know more about this from you, who has been a social entrepreneur since 2004, I believe so. Sir, no? 20, how old were you back then? 24.
34. Yeah, 24. Yeah, 24. Yes. 24. Tama.
So, yun, Sir Vince. But before that, kumusta, Sir Vince, after our conversation?
Okay na ba? Namumulot ang aking aso. So, papatabihin lang natin para tumahimik. Ayan.
Kumusta ka, Sir Vince?
Okay naman. Except that, talagang maraming mga nasalanta ng bagyo. At saka, ang daming mga sakuna. Sabay-sabay. Kaya, ayun, very good na meron kayong donation drive for that. So, sana ay marami talaga kayong matulungan.
Yun, salamat, Sir Vince. So, we're doing our best to reach out to different individuals right now that masyadong nahirapan after the storm. After the storm, ang daming surprises, no? that has happened. But anyway, going back to our topic, Sir Vince, I think to start the ball rolling and to ask you the first question, for you, and who has been teaching SE for the longest time, what is social entrepreneurship and how does one start to be a social entrepreneur?
Okay. So, yung social entrepreneurship in layman's terms ay you're using a business to solve societal problems. So, yung business na itinatayo mo ay primarily strategy lamang siya to be able to solve a social problem, no? For example. At saka yan yung pinaka-focus niya talaga. So when you start a social enterprise, you usually start with a social problem and then come up with creative ways on how to address this social problem through entrepreneurship or using management tools or entrepreneurship to be able to solve that societal problem.
grabe, no? And I think that's what. But on that, Sir Vince, with the company that you're currently doing, what's that societal problem that you're trying to address?
So sa amin is very basic yung sa amin, which is actually, if you take a look at it, it could be the root cause of a lot of our other problems, no? And that is poverty. So we deal with poverty head on by doing a lot of businesses. No? So yung SEDPI kasi is a group of social enterprises yan. So hindi lang siya iisang organization. So we do a lot of interventions to solve poverty. So meron kami, for example, on financing. So we provide microfinance to mga low-income households so that they can have sustainable access to finance and they can have their livelihood. Tapos we also have, we recently just started our socialized housing program. So very soon we will be building our socialized housing projects, and yun, that will again address poverty. We're also assisting a lot of farmers, for example, here in Luzon, to adopt organic farming so that they have a more sustainable agriculture. And ang pinaka-problema kasi usually hindi naman sa production nandun naman siya sa marketing side. So we found a solution. We we partnered with an existing consolidator and distributor of organic vegetables in supermarkets. So yun, we provide livelihoods to these farmers. So marami siyang areas. Meron din kami on overseas Filipino workers na they're not able to manage their finances well, so we provide capacity building for them also. So in multiple fronts namin siya ginagawa.
Wow, that's a really interesting one. And with that, Sir Vince, social entrepreneurship, are there concepts or strategies that one needs to na lumalabas talaga siya? So parang what are the concepts that on social entrepreneurship na lumalabas, or the key things that we need to remember for it?
Yeah, basically when you're using business to do solve a societal problem, so a social problem, yun yung talagang core niya. At maraming mga maraming mga gray areas. Pero ako, rather than focusing on the definition, no, na parang, ikaw social entrepreneur, ikaw hindi, mas social entrepreneur ako kaysa sa'yo. Hindi na ako ganun. Mas gusto ko inclusive na lang. Basta yung intention mo ay nandyan para tumulong sa kapwa na maayos ang kanilang buhay at hindi tayo magkagulo, hindi ma-destroy ang environment. Sige na, go na tayo dyan. So, ako, rather than focusing on the technicalities of it, I would like to focus more on whether this business or this enterprise is really solving our social issues. Or baka naman nagko-contribute pa, di ba?
Totoo. Pero with that, Sir Vince, how does one, so for example, it's two things. One is, I want to venture on business, right? And how does one start to look to be a social entrepreneur? Okay. So look for the social problem, but how does, with so many problems in the society, how can one pinpoint, ito talaga yun?
Okay. Actually, walang iisang sagot dyan, Pao, kasi talagang hahanapin mo kung saan ka rin po pwede na best makasolve ng social problem based on your skill set, based on your knowledge, and then depende rin yan sa resources available for you, no? So like for me, when I started, I didn't start out to be a social entrepreneur immediately. I would consider myself as what I call a social intrapreneur. And why do I call myself that? Because I was doing social entrepreneurship inside an existing organization. So yung institution mismo na pinagtatrabahuhan ko before was the social enterprise. Pero I'm not the one really leading it. So I did my gaining of experience, paghahasa ng ating kaalaman at kakayahan, pagpapadami ng ating mga kakilala before I put up my social enterprise. Pero one thing was very clear to me. Hindi nga clear kung ano yung gagawin ko, 'di ba? Na business talaga na ako ba ay maggagawa ng pagkain, o ako ba ay pupunta sa renewable energy. Hindi 'yun malinaw sa akin. Pero ang malinaw sa akin ay gusto kong makatulong sa kapwa, and at the same time I want to take care of myself also. Yung hindi ako maghihirap. So yun yung pinaka principle niya. And then as I moved along in my work, nagigain mo yung expertise mo, and then you're able to come up with social enterprise ideas that you want to implement.
Ang galing doon. But the second one, Sir Vince, if may business na ako, right? So I have a business, and how can I fuse or make my business a social enterprise with that? If yung focus ko talagang for profit lang at first, but parang na one point siguro napantig yung puso, gano'n. I think I need to help the society. How does one connect it?
Correct. So ang isa sa so one is if you take a look at your business, baka naman by nature yung business mo ay kaya na niyang mag-address ng social problem. So pwede mong i-pivot yung business mo towards that, and it could become a social enterprise. So hindi naman, marami kasing aspects yan So for example, kunwari ako tanungin mo, paano ko gagawing social enterprise ang Jollibee?
Yeah.
Mga ganon. Ay nako, sana makinig si Tan Kaktiong, no? Kung paano niya gagawin ang social enterprise. So, unang-una, muna, di ba? Ayusin kung paano tinatrato yung kanyang mga employees. Gawin niyang regular. Hindi po pwedeng papalit-palit tayo na contractual. Very basic yun na nasa batas na ikaw may kakayahan ka at business na magbigay ng regular employment pero hindi mo ginagawa. Doon pa lang meron ng chance na to makakomply ka one step closer to being a social enterprise. Another one is I can influence my supply chain, and I think yung BPI ay yung Jollibee Foundation naman ay nagkaroon ng initiative on this, For example, yung kanilang sibuyas ngayon ay may parte ng kanilang sibuyas hindi na nila ini-import from Taiwan, pero tinuruan ng Jollibee Foundation yung mga nasa Nueva Ecija na farmers para mag-produce ng sibuyas for them. So kung yun nagawa niya in a small scale, tapos i-impluwensyahan niya yung buong supply chain niya na maging ganyan, para ma-upgrade yung mga farmers natin. Kaysa mag-import ka, ang taas pa ng carbon footprint mo. That is one step closer to becoming a social enterprise. Let's say another example, ang daming paraan kunwari, marami sa mga nagtatrabaho sa Jollibee ay mga out of school youth, 'di ba? Sila yung mga in between jobs or kaya naman mga working students, ganyan. Di mag-create siya ng program for particularly developing those out of school youth na mag-feed doon sa system niya at kung paano yun ma-upgrade yung skills nila so they can be employed after Jollibee. Madami talaga. Hindi ko nga alam kung bakit alam mo yun? Ako parang hindi sa baka isipin ng maraming tao plastic yung parang ganyan, pero hindi kasi ako na-excite sa tutubo ka lang ng pera. 'Di ba? Parang sa akin parang madali yan na tumubo ng pera. Pero kung tumubo ka ng pera at nakatulong ka pa sa kapwa mo, yan yung mas exciting, yan yung mas sexy para sa akin. Parang ang dami mong pera tapos 'di ba? Walang kahulugan, kailangan may meaning. So, yun yung challenge ko actually sa mga malalaking corporations kasi kayang-kaya Ngayon lang actually ngayong pandemic sa totoo lang naloloka ako na yung mga the likes of Jollibee and the likes of SM ay wala na silang maibigay na na ayuda sa kanilang mga employees na para bang naghirap na rin sila agad-agad. Excuse me, ilang dekada silang positive income. May tinatawag na retained earnings. Grabe, wala man lang nailagay. Ay, sa tingin ko yung isang taon na kaya nilang magpasweldo sa mga tauhan nila kahit hindi sila mag-operate, kayang-kaya nila yan. Pero ginawa ba nila? Hindi, di ba? Ako, for example, I operate my social enterprise. Pero I think that was my last thing that I intended to do na dahil nabawasan na yung trabaho, pandemic, ay hindi ko napapasweldohin. Wala na, no? Yung mga staff ko. That was the last thing that I did. Sabi ko, sasagarin natin ito hanggang kaya natin na magbigay kasi meron naman tayong earnings from before. So we can use that to provide pa rin for our employees. So ganun mag-isip yung social entrepreneur. Hindi lang yung maging marangya para sa sarili, pero laging tinitignan yung pakikipagkapwa at tinitignan kung actually, ang measurement ko ay yung pinakamababang rank ko sa korporasyon, how is that person? Maipagmamayabang ba? Diba? So ako, lagi kong sinasabi yan, ang pinakamababa na rank ko sa amin ay si Manang, yung kasama namin dito sa bahay. Pero even that, sa akin may programa na hindi po pwede na sila ay tumagal ng 5 taon sa akin. Kasi para sa akin, walang nangangarap na maging kasambahay, di ba? So kailangan ma-upgrade si Manang at magkaroon siya ng ways and means para maging hindi na siya kasambahay. And in our ilang years na ba kaming may kasambahay dito sa bahay? 10 taon, no? Pang-apat na si Manang ngayon. So yung 3, naayos na namin, hindi na sila kasambahay. Ganun ganun ako mag-isip. Yung iba kasi ayun parang, pera. Pero ako, I really get bored with money. So, totoo lang. And people think na mayabang ako for saying that, no? Pero, lagi kong sinasabi na kapag yung pera yung poproblemahin mo, yung pera yung hinahabol mo, mahirap. Pero, kung gusto mo lang kung gusto mong tumulong at meron kang maayos sa social enterprise, yung pera actually yung hahabol sa iyo Kasi the business idea is there and people will trust you.
And that's you're so true to that, Sir Vince, kasi parang I'm not sure when was that. Basta I listened to one of your lectures in a documented lecture in Ateneo. And parang you asked you said this into these lines na if you were asked the question what is social entrepreneurship for you before, you will answer parang na it's balancing both social mission and finances.
Correct.
But if I will ask you now, parang you answered there, it's always social mission over finances. And with what you're saying now, grabe, it's so loyal and it's so true.
Pero totoo yan, no? Kasi yun nga, nagbabago yung tao. Parang ako, sinasabi ko nga, I was a different person 10, 20 years ago. It's the same me, but nag-evolve ka At saka parang ako, ang wrong naman kung hindi ka nag-improve pag nagsa-stagnate ka. Actually, eto, mawala lang ako ng ibang topic. Parang people are asking me whether I should go to TikTok or not. So parang, oh my God, ang tanda ko na. Isa na namang social media platform. Ano ba to? Parang ganyan. Pero ako napapaisip ako ngayon but if this is the way to reach out to Gen Z, kasi yung Gen Z mulat na mulat di ba? Tapos wala tayo sa TikTok, doon sila gumagamit. Tapos puro kung ano-ano na namang mga misinformation at sa mga kawalang saysay na entertainment yung makukuha nila doon. Mabuhusan man lang ng social enterprise ideas yung mga mapanood nila. We make an effect. Kaya yun yung sinasabi ko, kailangan we go with the times and we also improve.
Yeah, that's so true on that, Sir Vince. And I would more or less resonate to what you said na parang it's easy to actually make money. One snap of a finger. You can have money already, but what excites, I always tell this to Sir JR too, what excites me is in putting up different businesses is okay, what problem can we solve in the society right now? Which community can we help improve as of the moment? Especially now that we're facing the pandemic.
Correct.
And with that, Sir Vince, I'm very curious though. How did SEDPI start? How did you start SEDPI? What are its roots?
Well, so it came from paano ba? So nagsimula ako as a trainer in a foundation, and then I became a parang a fund manager in another foundation. And then I took up my masters and I fused the two together. So capacity building plus financing. Kasi usually yun yung kulang in the market, 'di ba? Parang yung mga bangko magpapautang, tapos bahala na yung entrepreneur. Tapos kapag nalugi yung entrepreneur ay i-foreclose lahat ng properties niya. Kawawa naman, di ba? So, tas ganun yung nangyayari sa mga organizations. Kaya sabi ko, I think the formula really is you provide the capacity building to these organizations para they have the capacity to absorb the funds and manage it well. And while you are there, you are also providing them capacity building na ma-monitor mo din sila and you keep your investment safe from that. No? So yun yung naging formula namin. And it started only with the small capital, hindi kami nagsimula ng malaki. So I'd say ang puhunan nga namin nung una ay laway. Kasi training, research, and consulting, laway ang puhunan, di ba? And then we put up our SEDPI, no, yung Training, Research, and Consulting organization natin in 2004 with only 20,000 pesos. And then 4 years after that, we put up our financing company naman. So yun yung roots niya. So parang parang nakuha ko yung idea in my previous 2 employments. And then I took up my masters, and I was able to brew my social enterprise idea while taking up my masters. Tapos yun, na-implement na yung SEDPI.
Oh, that's really nice. And how has SEDPI evolved from 24 up until now? What was its developments?
So kami sa SEDPI kasi we build on one expertise with one thing at a time, no, one expertise at a time. So we started with microfinance. So yun yung actually kaya ako kilala si JR dahil sa, I think with Kasagana ka yata siya before. He also worked in the microfinance sector. And that's providing financial services to the poor or low-income households. And then after that, we went into financial literacy. Nagpo-provide kami ng yung the way that we did last time, no? We provide information on how to use money in the practical and sensible way. Tapos we went into social entrepreneurship and financing, and that's when we yung mga naturuan namin na mga naging financially stable na, we went into partnership with them so that we can invest in social enterprises and microfinance institutions. Tapos ngayon, yun, papunta kami ng sustainable agriculture at saka ng socialized housing. So yun.
Grabe. That's a lot already. And I think you've helped a lot.
Correct. At saka yung isa din pala na I forgot to tell you. One of our strategies also is to always involve the government, no matter who is in power, di ba? Parang ako, kunwari, hindi naman ako DDS, pero I still keep my relationship with the government because I think kung poverty eradication yung gusto mong gawin, hindi kakayanin yan ng social enterprise o kaya ng private sector lang. So kailangan talaga ng support ng government. And what we do is, we partner with them para yung mga pinaka-basic services ay ma-access ng mga members namin. Tapos kasabay ng pagbibigay namin ng serbisyo sa kanila.
Totoo, tama. And yeah, thank you very much for that, Sir Vince. And if I just want to say this, if you're watching right now live, no, you can comment if you have any questions for Sir Vince regarding social entrepreneurship or other things on business and social enterprises. You can comment your questions down below, right? Where you're from. I think Sir Vince also projected this show in your page, I believe so. Kasi sinasendan ako ng team ng mga comments of people in your page, Sir Vince. Sabi nila na great definition of social enterprise daw, Sir Vince, by Sir Ronabele Medes. And then someone saying watching from KSA, watching from Italy, and watching from Japan. So they're all commenting, Sir Vince, in your sinesend lang siya sa messenger. So yeah, Sir Vince, parang I think on this one, in this last 30 minutes of this show, parang I want to go deep on a personal level and how you as a person journeyed with SEDPI. And I think I'll start with a question on with the introduction I've made, and I've read some parts of you of what SEDPI has already done. I think my question would be, kasi ang dami niyo nang natulungan, and sinasabi ni Sir Jenna, ang dami niyo nang nagawa din on great things, and I believe so. What were some of the problems that SEDPI encountered or you encountered by yourself, and how did you address it, and what were the strategies that you did that you can also impart to everybody?
Right.
On social entrepreneurship.
I think this is again another baka for you it would help kasi maraming mga challenges talaga in terms of putting up your social enterprise and making it sustainable. Pero ang pinaka naging challenge sa akin at sa institution is to use debt as an engine for growth. So from 2004 up to 2016, our strategy was to use debt or to use loans to fuel our growth. And to me, that's not a good strategy, and that's what we are trying to address now. Kasi ang nangyayari in the financial markets natin, in the banking system, what happened was so, di ba, I told you we were training people to become financially literate. And then we invite them to join us. And so they become investors in SEDPI. Tapos, yung investment na yan ay nile-leverage namin to borrow money from the commercial bank para mas malaki yung maging fund namin that we could invest in social enterprises and microfinance institutions. So, ganun yung formula namin for the longest time. And then what happened was, in 2016, mayroon kaming isang client na na hindi naging maganda yung performance niya. So, nag-close yung organization. And so we took a hit of about 12 million pesos at that time. And then what I realized was, yung mga bangko, wala silang pakialam sa kung anong nangyayari sa operations mo. Basta bayaran mo sila with interest. And what does that mean? They don't share in the risk. Ako yung naging collateral, kumbaga, parang ako yung naging in between because these organizations that we were lending to, they could not go directly to these commercial banks because they would not qualify. So parang ako yung nag-in-between so that we would be able to provide funding to these organizations. And with that, sabi ko, ang sama ng pakiramdam ko nung that time. Kasi parang, wait lang, kumikita kayo, pag kumikita ako, tapos pag hindi ako kumikita, kikita pa rin kayo? Injustice yun, di ba? For me, injustice siya. So, what we did was, okay, hindi naman pala po pwede na tayo lahat yung nag-absorb ng risk. Kasi yung investors din namin were protected. Kasi syempre, hindi mo sila isasalang doon sa losses na yun. So ang sabi ko, we will now shift our strategy from getting loans into getting investors. So yun yung ginagawa namin ngayon na strategy. And from 2016 that we had a peak of about I think about 280 million pesos in loans, in debt. Ngayon, that is down to about 95 million. And hopefully, by 2021 or 2022, ay ma-wipe out na namin siya talaga. And now, SEDPI is going to be like talagang a movement of social investors. So, yung social enterprise na una, entrepreneurs na una namin na develop, no? Tapos ngayon naman ay napaparami at napaparami yung mga social investors. So buong-buo yung formula ngayon, no? Social investors supporting social enterprises.
So, sir, with social investors, ano to, and how does this process
work?
with this?
So, yung we look for social enterprises na magaganda, no? At saka matagal na namin kakilala at saka nabibigyan talaga namin ng capacity building. Tapos, from there, we're able to identify ano yung kanilang financing needs, no? Funding needs. So, out of that funding needs, we come up with an agreement with them na kung magkano yung kaya namin na maibigay sa kanila so that they would be able to improve their social enterprise. So, from that, we come up with a package. Let's say, ang kailangan ng isang social enterprise ay 5 million pesos. So, ang gagawin ng SEDPI, yung 1 million pesos, which is 20% no, of the total project cost, ay ipopondohan namin. Hahanap kami ngayon ng mga social investors na pupuno dito sa 4 million pesos na kulang. So, that's where the social investors would come in. So, very important na nababasa ng social investors kung ano yung social enterprise na napili nila, ano yung mga risks involved, ano yung details ng pagpe-payout at ano yung cap ng ng earnings. So yung difference sa amin ay hindi kami interest based. So hindi loans, no, yung mode ng pagbibigay natin ng partnership with the social enterprises. So it's in a form of a joint venture. So that means kapag kikita yung social enterprise ay kikita din yung mga social investors. Kapag may delay sa payments yung social enterprise, may delay din, no? At ang nangyayari ngayon, damay-damay lahat. Kaya kami naman as SEDPI ay talagang babantayan namin yung social enterprises. At mas ganado kaming magbantay ngayon kasi nga may kasama kami eh. Hindi yung katulad ng dati na yung ang nagpa-fund kasi ng 4 million dati ay bangko, 'di ba? Pero kahit hindi magbayad yung social enterprise, ay naku, babayaran pa rin namin si bangko, no? So ngayon yung namin, yung process namin, yung strategy is talagang movement siya of social investors, and we're able to support the social enterprises by sharing risks and sharing profits.
So, Sir Vince, with this one, who can be a social investor? Can I be? Anyone can just be? And how do we parang ano?
So, well, it's very easy, no? Membership-based yung sa atin sa SEDPI. You just become a member. Wala namang fee yan. So, you just fill out the form online, sa Messenger lang yan. Tapos, from there, makakakuha ka na ng information on available na projects or socially responsible investments sa tawag namin, SRIs, that you can choose from. So from the SRIs, may information kami na binibigay. So we trust that you take it upon yourself to read, to watch the videos, and to learn about what you are getting into. And the assumption is when you enter into a partnership with us through the joint venture is that you understood this on your own, no? We're going to that next level na magkakaroon kami ng capacity building for the social investors para mas tumaas pa yung kanilang investment acumen.
Ay, ang galing. Parang na-excite ako dyan. Mga friends na nanonood ng live, you might want to go to the website of SEDPI and try it out. Will you encourage people to be a servants?
Yeah, no, it really depends on their purpose. Ako, kung ang motivation mo is dumami ang pera, maybe this is not for you. Dumami ang pera lang, so maybe this is not for you. Pero if you get satisfaction with having an investment that at the same time addresses poverty eradication, then this is really for you, no? Tapos, hindi lang kasi yan yun ang kailangan eh. Kailangan din ay purposive ka. Para saan ba ang ini-invest mo? Baka naman lahat ng pera mo, nilagay mo na, wala ka palang emergency savings. We also discourage that. Kasi dapat may emergency savings ka muna bago ka mag-i-invest. So, we leave it to the person to decide, ano? Kasi mahirap eh, nasasabihin ko, ikaw qualified ka, ikaw hindi. Gusto namin na yung tao yung magsasabi na, I qualified ako.
Ayun, ganda no. Ang galing no. So that's a really, and I noticed that it's everything that you say, Sir Vince, purpose always comes in. No? I remember with our conversation on financial literacy, we went back to what's the purpose? So why are you doing this?
Correct.
Right? What's your dream ba? So it's very nice.
Actually, naisip ko ngayon mga maraming pera. Ano ba yung dream nila? Curious ako. Ano ba yung purpose nila? Diba? Kasi kung ang purpose nila ay hindi ko talaga ma-imagine, no? Ano magtayo ng maraming business para masabing ikaw ang richest person in the world? It's boring for me.
Gusto ko pala playtan ko sa service. So bland. And ako, I've walked and talked with when I have a relative who is a VP on a big corporation, and then it's always just once they get the money, they want more and they want more and they want more.
Correct.
Why? My relative would always say, financial freedom though, but you have so much more already.
Correct. But it's also because it's parang ang nangyayari kasi every time that the income increases, they also increase the lifestyle. And parang lifestyle yung nag-i-increase. Pero walang introspection kung ano ba yung nagpapaligaya sa'yo, di ba? Baka habol ka ng habol ng kung ano yung lifestyle na yan, pero baka hindi ka naman masaya, di ba? So kaya kailangan talaga purpose at knowing yourself, ano yung magpapasaya sa iyo. And at the end of it all, ako nagpapasaya lang sa akin are my family and friends and food, di ba?
Galing. Yes, ito yan, Sir Vince. And I would say again, if to those that wants to venture on becoming an SC, again, I think you would always say why, on what purpose, and then it needs a lot of introspection again. Would you say that becoming a social entrepreneur is for everyone, and everyone can face it and can do it?
I think kung gugustuhin, no? Pwede. Parang ganito lang yan pwede ba maging doktor ang lahat? Pwede naman kung gusto niya, 'di ba? So, babalik yan sa kagustuhan mo at yun ulit, no, kung meron bang opportunity for you to become one. Pero decision yan ng person, and I think hindi na siya mahalaga kung lahat ba ay maging social enterprise o hindi. Ang mahalaga ay whatever career you choose, that you be very good at it and you contribute to nation building, hindi lang yung sarili mo yung inaatupag.
Ay, totoo yan. Sorry. Na-amaze ako, Sir Vince, kasi with everyone that I've interviewed in this series is more or less saying the same things. Parang may script pa sila. Parang may script tayo lahat. It's the same thing. It's a nation building and helping the community. It boils down to that. And I think I have last two questions for you, Sir Vince. And you have, I think, in doing this business, you've been doing this for a very long time. And on the first part, I've asked you on the problems that you have faced and how you address them. But this time, I would want to ask, if you were filter all the lessons that you have learned in journeying as an SE and with journeying with your partners, with SEDPI, what are your top, I would say, mga top 3 lessons have you learned in doing this one? And yun.
So siguro sa akin yung first is really putting the welfare of the marginalized sector first, no? Ako, para sa akin, sila yung best customer eh. You know why? Kasi sabi ko nga, kaya nga ako lungkot na lungkot ngayong sa pandemic kasi hindi ako makababa sa areas namin sa Mindanao. But I really get my strength. I source my strength from them and my inspiration from them whenever I go down. Kasi kapag kahit ang dami-daming problema dito sa Maynila, no, mga operational at saka mga kung ano-ano logistical problems na inaatupag natin dito. Pero pag pumunta ka na doon at nakita mo sila, then I get reminded of why I'm doing this. No, parang okay, parang lahat ng pinoproblema ko ay, Diyos ko, strategy lang pala yan. Sa kanila, survival yung kanilang problema, ganyan. And whenever I go there and they tell me about how their lives have changed and has improved, yun, na-fuel pa ako, lalong-lalo na. And that's the reason why I really want to always be in touch with them. So number 1 is that one, no? Kailangan talaga ay uunahin mo yung welfare nila. At kasi if you take care of them, believe me, they will take a bullet for you. Ganon sila, ganon yung level ng loyalty when you provide very good services to the marginalized sectors. Number 2, I think I've already discussed this extensively kanina, is to go for participation and cooperation with investors rather than relying on debt, no? Rather than relying on loans to fuel your growth. And the third one is to take care of your people. Yung mga nakapaligid sa'yo, yung mga staff mo, yeah, you have to take care of them. And yun yung lagi kong sinasabi na dapat yung na-enjoy namin ay na-enjoy din ng pinakamababa sa amin.
Ay, ang galing naman, Sir Vince. Sinulat ko siya. You always take down notes on this kind of conversation. Sir Vince, may nag-comment sa on my end, parang the question is on social kasi we mentioned kanina and I think you had a lecture on social finance, right? And then his question is, how do you balance your social mission and finances?
Yeah. So yung again, I take a look at the finance side as a tool towards the achievement of the social objective. So parang you arrange your resources towards that objective. And whether you make a profit or not is parang hindi siya balancing act kasi may mga strategies na sa social entrepreneurship na talagang hindi sila kumikita pero essential yung kanilang service to be able to address a social problem. Let's say for example, ako a rehabilitation center for or a house for violence victims of violence. Paano ka naman kikita doon, 'di ba? 'Di ba? Ang hirap, 'di ba? Parang so you arrange your finances towards that goal. So profitability is not a measure for you if that is your social enterprise model. So ang sources mo malamang diyan ay donations or putting up an endowment fund or partnering with the government so you can channel part of the budget coming from the government to support you, mga ganyan. But profitability is not a goal. So mahirap yung sinasabi nila na babalansehin mo yung social and financial Sa akin nga, hindi eh. You arrange your finances or your resources to achieve your social mission. So sa amin, for example, of course, we make profit, di ba? Pero sa amin, kapag profit ang pinag-uusapan, dapat at least majority ng income, ng net income, ay naibabalik sa mga members. So, yun yung sa amin kasi ang model na that we work in the social enterprise world is on the a model that makes profit. So, hindi rin po pwede na yung kita lahat ay mapunta sa amin, 'di ba? As a social entrepreneur kasi kapareho ka lang ng iba, 'di ba? Parang ganun. So, dapat ay yung net income mo, majority of that goes to the development of products for the marginalized sectors or to your staff or ganyan. So that's how I take a look at profit. Profit is primarily a tool to achieve your goals. Hindi siya social and profit. Hindi siya ganon.
Oh, wow.
Social is here and profit is kunwari, parang yan yung flame mo, no? To be able to cook your social mission. So, hindi siya po pwedeng, so, given that analogy, no, so minsan kailangan patay siya, wala siyang income kasi kailangan mo lang siyang, i-brew muna, di ba? Tapos sisindihan mo ulit para, ganun lang yung, tingin natin dyan. Strategy siya, tool siya.
Ang ganda nun. Pero with that, Sir Vince, parang, if I may ask, no, what should be the mindset? Kasi example, I'm the founder. The founder created the whole model and stuff like that. So ako yung umaapoy. And then I have like a group of friends parang invited and then they said yes. But how can we put everyone in one page knowing that lalo na it would be a different mindset especially if you're coming from a corporate sector. That you came from a corporate and then you started a startup or whatever. What should be the mindset of a group of partners knowing that minsan wala talaga income but the social mission needs to stand pa rin?
Oo. Kasi multiple metrics yung titignan mo kung social enterprise ka, di ba? So for us, for example kami, if you take a look at our financial statements no in the past siguro in the past 10 years, our our expenses over income is always in the bandwidth lang ng 5 to 10%. Ibig sabihin, yung net income lang namin ay 5 to 10% higher lang, yung income namin ay 5 to 10% higher lang siya usually than our total expenses. So that's not a lot. But why do we persist, 'di ba? Parang ay very clear, hindi naman pala siya money-making machine. Because we use other metrics. And to us, a more important metric would be how many people have you helped lifted out of poverty? How many households have you helped to send their children to school? How many acres or hectares of land have you prevented from deforestation? Because these are also very important metrics, more than the profitability. So, babalansehin mo yun, no? And hindi naman kinakailangan na parati kayong in agreement, di ba? But what you do is, in the disagreement, you come up with a consensus that eventually will result to addressing the needs of the marginalized sectors. So ako di ba, katulad ng dati, kung ako kakausapin mo 10 years ago, I'd say na, hindi, kuha pa tayo ng loan para marami tayong matulungan, di ba? Kausapin mo ako yun, iba na eh. So, hindi siya parang kailangan mag-agree tayo ngayon, but what we want to do ay maraming mga kaisipan na pumapasok and we come up with the consensus and a solution to assist in achieving our social goals.
Ganda nun. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that, Sir Vince. And I think this afternoon is a really good take for me on this conversation, because I'm also in a search of ano talaga yung for DGY, what's our social mission. But so we're starting with corporate social responsibility and we've been helping the garbage collector since the start month of the pandemic. And then this time, parang I said na parang it's just not enough to just give them the goods and the food. But it's always the question, how can we help them further? So we're trying to, that's why we're trying to create skill-based trainings for them instead after giving them the goods. Kasi parang it's just, the goods would just be what would last after 3 weeks. But what's next? Right? Pabayaan na lang natin, ganun. So sabi ko with everybody, with the team na parang let's create and let's make more, let's help these lives, elevate these lives. Kasi these are the people that are more or less not being seen. These are the unsung heroes of our society, which are the garbage collectors.
Correct.
And with that, Sir Vince, thank you very much for this conversation. Any final message, Sir Vince, that is to our viewers right now that's currently watching? And if you have anything that you want to plug as well on anything.
Actually, ako ngayon, naka-vacation mode pa ako ngayon. So, well, no, I'll just repeat my tagline, which is ang pagyaman na pag-aaralan at na pagtutulungan. So we have the responsibility to improve ourselves, but we also have to be active, active citizens para we lift each other out of poverty and we contribute to the advancement of our country.
Galing na. So, thank you very much, Sir Vince. If they have any questions and want to learn more about SEDPI, where can they go, Sir Vince?
Yeah, so they can go to my website, vincerapisura.com, or visit my Facebook page, Vince Rapisura din yon, and watch na lang sa YouTube. They can subscribe, Vince Rapisura din yung channel natin. They can also send a message sa Messenger, sa page ko, sa Vince Rapisura Facebook Messenger. At may chatbot yon. So kung wala dun sa chatbot, meron ng email link na po pwedeng maibigay if they want to consult, and my team will help me address those.
Ayun. So guys, again, if you want to learn more about Sir Vince, if you want to ask more questions, you can just go to their Facebook page, which is Sir Vince Rapisura, or their website, vincerapisura.com. And I would say that after the conversation with Sir Vince, I've been listening to everything in YouTube and also in Facebook, and that's helped me on financial literacy and on finances still ngayon in the pandemic. So Sir Vince, maraming salamat for this opportunity to have a part 2 conversation on a different topic with you again. And guys, and I would say again, if you want to help us, we're currently helping our garbage collectors during the pandemic, and since they've also been affected by the storm. Help us help our garbage collectors. You can donate 500 pesos to help us give them goods, and your 500 pesos will go to these kinds of food: rice, veggies, cans of sardines, instant noodles, and face masks. But not only that, your 500 pesos will also go to the development and creation of different skill-based workshops for these people. So if you are interested, just look at the banner down below. It's there, all the information. But with for that, you can also donate in this to Paulo's on this account number, or contact Rick Hernandez or I for any further questions on that. So there you go, guys. Thank you very much for everything. Sir Vince, thank you very much for your time.
Salamat.
Again, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. See you on our next episode next week. We will have a different person here in our show, and we'll have a really meaningful conversation again. So again, this is Paulo Aguirre, your host, saying that let's all unite and help our people and equip them as well. Thank you very much, guys, and see you next weekend. Bye. Sir Vince, maraming salamat po.
Salamat din.
Sir Vince, picture tayo before you go. Okay lang?
Sure. Wait lang.